Let's get something clear right from the start. The real danger in life isn't the person who throws you a hateful glare across the room. No, it's the one who smiles warmly, laughs at your jokes, maybe even shows up with your favorite coffee, secretly hoping you disappear for good. Sounds a bit over the top, maybe, but the unsettling truth is that reality often turns out to be stranger and far more terrifying than fiction. Right now, without you realizing it, someone in your circle could be plotting against you, and the scariest part, you probably wouldn't notice until it was far too late. Hatred is loud, obvious, and easy to recognize, but malicious intent often hides behind a polite mask, a charming facade, an Instagram-filtered version of friendliness. That's why it slips past most people's radar. By the time the signs finally register, you're already standing in the damage zone. Now, let's be clear. This video isn't about feeding fire, it's about equipping you to survive. What you're about to discover are 5 chilling, dicily overlooked signals that reveal when someone doesn't just dislike you, they want you erased. Not just out of their life, but permanently gone. These aren't wild guesses or conspiracy theories. They're real, recognizable behaviors grounded in psychological patterns. And learning to spot them might not just protect you, it could save your life or the life of someone you care about. So before we walk into the darker territory ahead, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, because once you see the truth, you'll never look at friendly the same way again. Ready? Let's begin. The first sign, perhaps the most chilling and dangerously underestimated, is what I call the silent observer. This isn't just your casual social media lurker or the chatty neighbor who has too much free time. No, this is something far more deliberate, calculated, and sinister. These people don't merely watch youth, they study you. They map out your daily schedule, track your routines, and gather personal details with the kind of precision you'd expect from a military operation. Not everyday life. And here's the unsettling part. They do it so quietly, so seamlessly, that you often don't notice until the pieces finally click together. Imagine that someone knows your exact coffee order, even though you've never mentioned it. They bump into you at the park, the gym, or the groceries at the exact same time you're there. At first, it feels like coincidence, until it doesn't anymore. What makes this so dangerous is how easily it's dismissed. Society trains us to brush off subtle patterns, to tell ourselves we're just being paranoid. But that's exactly the hesitation predators exploit. They weaponize your self-doubt. Take the story of Christine, for example. She was a mid-level manager who once brushed off the strange timing of her ex-boyfriend's constant appearances. They had broken up months before, and she assumed he was simply struggling to move on. But gradually, she realized something far more sinister was happening. He wasn't just around, he was always one step ahead. Even after she switched gyms, changed her commute, and started shopping in different stores, he still appeared, quietly, consistently, without confrontation or threats. Her friends told her it was nothing more than obsession. But Christine eventually recognized what they couldn't sit wasn't obsession at all. It was premeditation. His behavior wasn't about reconciliation or closure. It was about control, about removing uncertainty before making a calculated move. Even ancient thinkers, like Epictetus, warned us about these illusions. He taught that a wise person isn't just watchful of others, but also vigilant about protecting their own peace and order. And when someone disrupts that order, when a person appears too often, knows too much, and offers no clear reason, don't excuse it. You investigate it. In today's hyper-connected world, surveillance doesn't need a van parked outside your house anymore. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, right where you least expect it. You see, access doesn't always come from breaking into your home or tapping your phone. It slips in through social media, through mutual friends, through daily routines and habits we carelessly expose to the world. And the most dangerous people aren't the ones who lash out in public, making a scene. No, they're the ones who smile politely while silently cataloging every move you make, storing details like weapons for a later attack. This isn't about paranoia or feeding fire, it's about discernment. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that true wisdom begins with clear-eyed observation and culminates in decisive action. When someone repeatedly shows up in your life without reason, when you've given them no invitation, yet they continue to appear, don't chalk it up to fate. That's not destiny at work. It's a red flag waving in your direction. Pay attention to those patterns. Question the so-called coincidences. And above all, listen to your instincts. That tight knot in your stomach isn't overthinking, it's insight. When your inner peace feels disturbed, when something in your soul whispers that something is off, don't ignore it, honor it. Because hesitation is exactly what predators rely on. And here's the unsettling truth. Sometimes the most frightening people are not the ones who confront you with threats or anger. They're the ones who linger in silence, patiently studying, waiting for the moment your guard drops. Which brings us to sign 2, the saboteur strategy. Here's a disturbing fact backed by social psychology. When people hear a lie about someone, even if it's later proven false, their perception of that person still shifts negatively. That is the terrifying power of suggestion, and that's precisely what makes the saboteur strategy so destructive. This isn't about simple revenge or petty gossip. A saboteur isn't satisfied with merely hurting you. They want more. They want you isolated, stripped of support, weakened from every angle. To achieve that, they don't just attack you directly, they quietly wage war against your entire network of trust. It begins with whispers, subtle, carefully placed words at just the right time. To your boss, they may hint that you're unreliable. To your closest friends, they may suggest you've changed, become distant, maybe even toxic. They never go as far as making full accusations. That would be too obvious. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, suspicion, tiny misunderstandings. And here's the genius of their cruelty. Because each incident feels isolated. Each whisper seems unrelated. No one sees the bigger picture. Not your colleagues, not your friends. Sometimes, not even you. You may begin to wonder if you're imagining things. Why does everything seem to crumble all at once? That confusion, that fragmentation, is their weapon. Make no mistake, these people don't act out of impulse. They act with careful intention. They orchestrate conflict so that you appear unstable. They pull strings quietly, ensuring you're discredited both in your personal life and professional space. They may even pose as the victim or worse, as the concerned friend, pretending to look out for you, while they carefully unravel the trust others once had in you. And their goal, it isn't just to stain your reputation, it's to cut you off completely, to sever your lifelines, so that when the moment comes to strike hardest, you are left standing alone. From a Stoic perspective, this strategy is particularly insidious. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate inner strength and rational clarity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But when a saboteur is at work, the obstacle is not a path to growth, it's a toxic fog. It clouds your mind, pulls you into endless drama, and tempts you into defending yourself at every turn. And the cruel irony, the more you try to explain, the more suspicious you appear. It's a vicious cycle, and recognizing it is the first step to breaking free. You don't need to chase after every rumor or exhaust yourself trying to silence every whisper. Instead, anchor yourself in evidence. Protect your integrity, but also be strategic. Document everything, emails, text messages, even the smallest exchanges. Keep timelines, keep records. In other words, keep your truth sharp and your circle intentional. Because in a storm of manipulation, clarity is your shield. And here's something both the Stoics and even Scripture affirm. Character isn't revealed in sudden moments of chaos. It unfolds over time. People can be swayed temporarily, but the truth, like the soul itself, has an enduring quality. It outlasts noise. So when someone seems to lurk like a phantom behind your conflicts, always present, always near, but never, stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. You're not just facing a manipulator. You're confronting a strategist of destruction. And the first step in winning that battle is refusing to play their game. Which leads us to sign 3, the false friend facade. This is where things take an especially dark and deceptive turn. It's one of the oldest tricks in human history, and yet, it remains one of the hardest to recognize. We've been conditioned to believe that kindness always signals virtue, that warmth and closeness are signs of loyalty. But sometimes, that warmth is nothing more than a mask. When someone suddenly shifts from being a distant acquaintance to acting like a deeply invested friend, without any clear reason or emotional history, you shouldn't celebrate. You should pay attention. Because these individuals aren't trying to earn your trust, they're trying to build access. What appears to be concern is often a calculated performance. They begin asking questions that seem caring at first. Details about your schedule, your relationships, your fears, even the wounds and traumas from your past. But they're not interested in helping you heal. They're gathering intelligence. Step by step, they weave themselves deeper into your world. They get close to your family, linger around your workspace, maybe even volunteer to help with errands or personal affairs. On the surface, it looks supportive, but beneath it, their true goal is surveillance. And every secret you confide becomes another tool in their arsenal, another piece of leverage, another vulnerability they can exploit when the time comes. What makes this tactic so chilling is that it feels good in the beginning. You finally feel seen. Someone wants to listen, to understand, to be there for you. But behind that comforting presence lies a cold, strategic mind, mapping your life with the precision of a surgeon. They're not nurturing a friendship. They're designing the most efficient route to every soft spot in your world. From a Stoic perspective, this deception is especially dangerous. Seneca once warned, "A friend is someone you trust with your soul." But trust must be earned, not given freely to anyone who smiles and listens. The Stoics taught that true safety comes from discernment, from wise moderation. So if someone rushes into your life with sudden intensity, asking for too much, too soon, stop and examine. Do they really want? It's easy to mistake familiarity for friendship, but predators know that too well. They'll mirror your words, echo your emotions, even share carefully chosen vulnerable stories of their own just enough to lower your guard. Meanwhile, in silence, they're filing away your information like a spy building a target profile. And because they're wrapped in charm and empathy, nobody around you suspects a thing. Not your friends, not your colleagues, and not even you until it's already too late. So here's what you must do. Slow the relationship down. Guard your privacy as fiercely as you guard your peace, because your peace depends on it. Ask yourself why someone suddenly wants access to parts of your life they've never cared about before. Real friendship grows gradually, step by step. Sabotage hides in speed. Trust is not just about who makes you feel safe, it's about who has truly earned that place in your life. Because the false friend doesn't just want your loyalty, they want access to your vulnerabilities. That's their true prize. So yes, be kind, be warm, but never be careless. When evil wears a friendly face, what you're seeing isn't genuine connection. It's camouflage. Which brings us to sign 4. Escalating aggression. This fourth sign is one of the most horrifyingly overlooked, and I call it calculated escalation. Here's the truth. When someone harbors intentions darker than simple hatred, they rarely begin with outright violence. That would be too obvious, too easy to resist. Instead, they move slowly, carefully, testing the waters. They push boundaries in subtle ways, conditioning you to accept behavior that grows gradually more aggressive, more invasive, and far more threatening over time. It often begins innocently enough, at least that's how it seems. A joking remark, with a disturbing undertone. A comment like, "I could kill you right now," followed by laughter. Or casual mentions of violence slipped into conversation, disguised as edgy humor. But don't mistake these words for harmless banter. They are deliberate probe tools to measure your fear, to map your reactions, to test how far they can go before you push back. Let me share a case that still sends chills down the spines of experienced investigators. In 2016, a young woman named Leah had just landed her first job out of college and moved into a new apartment complex. There she met Adam, a neighbor who seemed awkward, but on the surface, harmless. At first, his presence appeared friendly, maybe even helpful. He offered to carry her groceries, shared elevator rides, and asked oddly specific questions about her daily routines. Then came the moment that should have been a warning. At a casual building cookout, Adam made a strange remark. With a laugh, he joked that he'd make the perfect killer because he knew how to get rid of evidence. Everyone chuckled nervously and brushed it off. Leah, unsettled, tried to dismiss it, too. But soon, things began to shift. Adam started standing a little too close. He coincidentally showed up in the hallway each morning just as Leah left for work, brushing past her shoulder without apology. Once, he even blocked her apartment door under the excuse of needing to talk. Then came the chilling discovery. One evening, Leah returned home to find a hunting knife placed neatly on her doormat. No note, no explanation, just a weapon. She reported it. Authorities dismissed it as a prank. But Leah didn't. She trusted her instincts. She installed a camera outside her door, changed her locks, and began documenting every single interaction. Within a month, the camera caught Adam at 2 a.m., gloves on, duffel bag in hand, trying to pick her lock. He was arrested soon after, and investigators uncovered something far worse. A detailed journal, complete with Leah's daily movements, her favorite places, and a timeline chillingly labeled execution window. This is the terrifying truth. Violent individuals rarely reveal themselves. In one sudden act, they build up slowly, desensitizing you, hiding behind jokes, brushing off aggression as quirks. What feels like coincidence or clumsy behavior is often part of a larger psychological script, carefully designed to make the abnormal seem normal. The Stoics warned us not to live in fear, but in awareness. Seneca said, "He who is forewarned is forearmed." That's wisdom we cannot afford to ignore. If someone in your life constantly crosses lines and then laughs it off, take it seriously. If their jokes hide threats, if they test your physical boundaries, or if they seem more interested in studying your reactions than connecting with you, know this: that's not personality. That's a red flag. We just saw how escalating aggression can creep in slowly, disguised as harmless jokes or accidental touches. But there is an even darker danger, one that hides not in sudden outbursts, but in silence and time itself. This brings us to sign number 5, the patient predator. And make no mistake, this is not just another threat. It is, without question, the most dangerous sign of all. Unlike the person who lashes out in anger, or the one who leaves obvious warnings, the patient predator operates in shadows. They do not need noise. They do not need chaos. What they rely on is something far more powerful. Their strength is not in sudden violence, but in waiting, calculating, rehearsing every step until the moment is perfect. Stoic philosophers would call this the long game, a deadly strategy where every detail is measured, and every move is designed with chilling precision. They can wait weeks, months, even years if necessary, knowing that eventually your guard will come down. And when it does, they are ready. What makes them terrifying is not what they show, but what they hide. They don't raise suspicion. They raise trust. They smile at the right times. They ask about your future plans, not out of care, but out of calculation. Every conversation is data collection. Every favor they offer is another layer of false security. Think about it. This person could be your reliable coworker, the neighbor who kindly waters your plants, or even the friend who remembers your birthday better than anyone else. On the surface, they are dependable, thoughtful, even admirable. But beneath that calm exterior lies a script, rehearsed over and over, waiting for the moment of betrayal. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, warned us clearly. The greatest danger is rarely what we can sit, is what we overlook, while assuming the world plays by fair rules. He wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." But how do you guard yourself against someone who wears a perfect mask? Their kindness is bait, their life a performance, every act carefully staged. And the scariest part, these predators rarely make mistakes. Instead, they wait for yours. They wait for the day your routine slips, when your defenses weaken, when your support system thins. That is when they strike. And because you trusted them, because you believed in their mask, you never saw it coming. So what can you do? Be generous. With kindness, yes, but guarded with trust. Do not confuse warmth with access. Protect your plans, keep your boundaries sacred, and remain watchful even when everything appears calm. Because the truth is, danger often hides in the moments when nothing seems wrong. Especially then. And now, let's face reality. If any of these 5 deadly signs have made someone in your life come to mind, the silent observer, the saboteur, the false friend, the escalating aggressor, or the patient predator, don't dismiss it. Don't tell yourself you're imagining things. You may not just be dealing with negativity. You may be standing in the crosshairs of something far darker. So, before we close, do 2 things. First, save this video. You might need to return to these warnings when your instincts whisper again. And second, watch the next video here on Mind of Stoic about spotting covert narcissists. Because these 5 dangerous tactics often walk hand in hand with deeply manipulative personalities. We've just uncovered the 5 most dangerous signs: the silent observer, the saboteur, the false friend, the escalating aggressor, and the patient predator. Now, it's time to bring it all together with one final reminder. Remember this: knowledge may be your very first shield, but it's not enough on its own. What truly protects you is action, the choices you make, the boundaries you enforce, the courage to listen when your instincts are whispering. Stay sharp, stay guarded, and above all else, stay alive. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. If your gut has been quietly warning you that something feels off, then this video has likely just confirmed what you didn't want to believe, but desperately needed to hear. These 5 signs are not about drama, suspicion, or paranoia. They are about survival itself. Because here's the difference. A person who merely dislikes you might roll their eyes, avoid you, or talk behind your back. But a person who truly wants you gone, they study you, they sabotage you, they smile in your face while quietly escalating, and then most chilling of all, they wait. That's not petty, that's predatory. So ask yourself, while watching this, did one friendly face suddenly come to mind? Someone who seems too attentive, too involved, or too perfectly placed in your life? If so, don't dismiss it. Don't silence the instinct that's trying to protect you. You have those inner alarms for a reason. As the old saying warns us, the devil does not come with horns and fire. He arrives wrapped in everything you longed to trust. And that is exactly why vigilance is not paranoia. It's wisdom. If what you've just heard feels uncomfortably close to your own life, do two things right now. First, subscribe to Mind of Stoic, so you remain one step ahead of anyone who may be playing a dangerous game around you. And second, share this video with someone who might still be in the dark, because knowledge is the first line of defense. And passing it on could quite literally save another life. Stay sharp, stay safe, and remember, it's not paranoia if someone is truly planning your downfall. Trust wisely, and I'll see you in the next one.